up, YouTube family? It is K-Rad here. Alright, let's get right into it, man. I know that this fight probably wouldn't happen, but I just wanted to create some good little, potential, fight philosophy for any potential matchups for any of you MMA fans out there. But yeah, let's get right into it, man. I want to see this fight one day, and for those of you that don't know, one of these fighters, this lady on the left is Ailin Perez. She fights in the UFC, I believe, at 135 pounds. Very good fighter. She's currently 8-2, and she had a really good victory against Ashley Evans Smith, and she lost to Stephanie Egger, who is a very good fighter herself. She's 8-4, if I'm not mistaken, in the UFC. She's a Switzerland fighter, and she also lost to Tamires Vidal. Yeah, she was a good fighter too. She's actually still doing well herself. She's 7-1. She's 25 years old. But yeah, let's talk about this matchup, because I've always wanted to talk about particular fight matchups that could be really good for the sport of MMA. Especially with boxers like Claressa Shields on the right that you see here, that could very well make a huge impact in her career. She's very fresh in her career. She's 28 years old. I'm not too sure if she's done with boxing, but I say she's now committing to MMA, where she wants to make a huge impact to potentially become the very first, I don't know if she'll be the first female fighter to be basically undisputed with MMA and boxing, not just at the same time, but basically Claressa Shields, if I'm not mistaken, she'll be the second female boxer that converted to MMA from boxing, if I'm not mistaken, to win a title in two different sports, because I know Holly Holm was the first one, and Claressa Shields, to my understanding, she would be basically the very first ever two-division undisputed boxing world champion that has those accolades. Along with MMA, she would be the very first ever woman to do that. So if Claressa Shields is to be very successful in MMA, she could very well dominate the sport, and she could very well make a lot of history. But as far as this fight goes, I don't think weight cut wise or weight class wise this would make any sense if they were to fight. But I think the main crux of this fight ever to be made is that if Claressa actually wanted to fight her, and I think this would be a good style matchup. Ailin Perez, she's more of a striker, mix-up type of grappler. She's very technical. She has a really good wrestling, Greco-Roman style. A lot of the South American UFC fighters tend to have a really good background in wrestling, but they're more mixed with the jiu-jitsu. They're not really seasoned with actual, ancient Roman Greco-style, wrestling, which would most likely go back to Greece and ancient Rome, and then if anything, ancient Africa, because that's really where wrestling really had a lot of its origin roots from. But yeah, Greco-Roman style wrestling is definitely heavily practiced in America, and I would say Europe, they're decent, but they're not the super duper greatest when it comes to wrestling. America actually made wrestling a lot better, with more technicality, more defense, and more high level ring IQ type of defensive output to make sure that you're actually winning a particular match. Now, as far as Ailin goes, she has good grappling skills, but does she use it a lot? Not really. She likes to pound you down first before she out-wrestles you, and I think that's Claressa's main weakness, and I think she's going to get better at it. Wrestling is definitely not her school of fighting. When Claressa does get put to the ground, she does get into that survival mode of thinking to understand what she has to do. I think Ailin, she will try to force Claressa a lot to the ground, but the minute when Claressa hits her, I think Claressa is going to start pounding against her, because these are two different ladies that are in two different weight classes, because Claressa's weight class that she's at is at 155, and Ailin, even though she's a smaller lady, I think this is a very good fight if they really want to fight, for Ailin to go up to 155 to fight Claressa, because as it stands now, Claressa is quote unquote inexperienced, and I think this is a good fight. I think both ladies would definitely give it their all. I don't see Ailin backing down from Claressa's power or her pressure, and definitely the immense warfare that she likes to bring. Every time she gets on the inside with you, I think Claressa, she scales well when she's able to hit you and she's able to land good shots to outstrike you. But that's her being green at the moment. Like, her being advanced, we don't know how good she's gonna be. But I think Ailin Perez, she would try to outwork Claressa on the ground and try to find a way to submit her. But if Claressa hits her, then Ailin, she's gonna go to the ground, and I think Claressa, she'll have the advantage to use her size to find a way to either submit her or to just outwork her to the ground and pound, because I think that's very possible. I think Ailin Perez, even though that she's only been submitted twice, which is technically considered knockouts in MMA, but it's really not. I mean, getting tapped out is actually not as bad as getting knocked out. So I mean, she has great mentality. She's an absolute monster, and she is very young in her own career. She's 28 years old. She'll be 29 very soon in October, but yeah, she has plenty of fight left in her, and she's absolutely really good. I just think that where it stands right now, Claressa is technically the bigger fighter, because Claressa, she's like 5'9", and she's like 5'5", but I think honestly, but the height doesn't matter unless you know how to use it. And Claressa, she definitely knows how to bring a fight to you, and she's not gonna stop. Yeah, so Claressa, she's 5'8" with the 68-inch arm reach, and Ailin, she's 5'5" with the 66-inch arm reach. Yeah, she has a very good style. I'm not too sure where exactly she trains. I be hearing that she does train out in Miami, out in Florida, and as far as her style goes, I'm not too sure if it's true, but I keep hearing that she trains out of the foundation style of Sanda. I don't know if that's actually a thing in MMA, but yeah, she has a lot of experience. She's very good. I see on Tapology.com that she's associated with the Goat Shed, so I think this is her training gym that she goes to, and yeah, that's pretty good. I think she has some pretty good stablemates around her, and that's pretty good that she has a lot of experience with a lot of these fighters, because the good thing about MMA is that MMA fighters don't really care about their records, they just care about getting good. So the thing about Ailin is that she's a really heavily touted fighter, and she doesn't really scale away from trying to get better and trying to advance to the next level. And I think she's doing pretty well. I think she's making a lot of noise in the UFC. She's 8-2 right now, so I think sooner than later she's going to put herself in bigger and better things. So I think, knowing that with her UFC debut, she obviously didn't do too good against Stephanie Egger that submitted her, but she's back in action and she's doing her thing. But yeah, I personally think this would be a very good matchup for the future, and I like to see it. Obviously, she would probably have to, basically say that she would need some sort of fairness as far as weight cutting. But I think Claressa and her, they could definitely meet at a catch weight at 150. I don't see why she can't do that. I think this would sell really well to women's MMA, and I think Claressa would definitely have a good test in front of her. This is just a suggested matchup if this were to happen in the future. So I like to see where she can go with this, and hopefully we get to see these ladies, scrap it up one day. Obviously, they're in two different weight classes, but I'm just giving out my particular suggestions. But huge big shout out to Ailin Perez. She's an absolute warrior, and Claressa Shields, both heavily respected in their own right. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Do what you got to do, and I will see you guys later. Peace out and goodbye. And here's the outro.